Hello, everybody, and welcome to the No Zones, the Target Zone Talks. So, I hope you're all doing very well indeed. We've just got a short live stream for you here, guys. Obviously, we'll be streaming later on just in case anybody is worried. But I did want to cover this particular topic because I've been talking about Stephen Moffat's return longer than anybody else has been actually talking about Stephen Moffat's return. I actually said that Stephen Moffat would return. Again, some people out there uh, have been doubt me all the time, and it always seems to come to fruition. So it is being reported that Stephen Moffat is to write the Christmas special for 2024 after recently coming out and saying that he was done with Doctor Who. Now, when we covered that article, I said to you guys, ignore that article. He's talking out of his backside. He's lying. He will return to Doctor Who, and he will return to Doctor Who. And the reason why he will return to Doctor Who is for the fact that the specials were not received as well as everybody out there that's basically massaging RTD's ego and BBC's ego. The bottom line is that this show, RTD's return, has failed to capture the imagination of everybody out there. So in their desperation, they're turning to people that have worked on Doctor Who before, that have been successful on Doctor Who before. This is why I knew, and I've always told you, that RTD would bring Stephen Moffat back into the fold. I would not even be surprised, and I'll go even further and say that this could end up being a collab going forward. You never know. There might be some deal done where two of them may, in the future, co-run the show together. Now, no matter what you feel about RTD or Stephen Moffat, this in the Doctor Who fandom would be huge if Stephen Moffat was to return, because of course a lot of fans will say that during the RTD era, the Stephen Moffat episodes were probably the best episodes during that era. But again, as I said, I want to make clear, because normally I don't make comments like this, but I am, because I'm sick and tired of people in this fandom dragging my name through the mud when it comes into relation of information. I've been telling everybody before everybody else, even the day that RTD was announced, I was talking about Stephen Moffat, right? And I've said it to you. I've dropped Stephen Moffat on this channel ever since then, and I've been telling you and being blue in the face telling everybody that Stephen Moffat would return to Doctor Who. Don't be listening to the media reports out there or the crap that comes out of his mouth, right? The bottom line is Doctor Who is in trouble. Okay, it's not Rosie in the Garden of Roses like Mr. Teabag and other people out there in the Doctor Who fandom are informing fans that everything is rosy. It's not. Anyway, let's get into this article. The article's in the link description, folks. And we're just going to read bits of this article. Not reading the whole article, of course. You can read the whole article yourselves. You have to be very careful on YouTube now. The rules are getting a lot more stricter. So the BBC isn't commenting on the timey-wimey reports, says the radiotimes.com. So it's being reported by the Radio Times. More than 6 years after his final episode of Doctor Who aired, it appears that former showrunner Stephen Moffat may be returning to write a new episode of the sci-fi. But it's not sci-fi anymore, so don't be calling it a sci-fi, okay? I hate these journalists. It's not sci-fi. Not anymore, it's not. While the news has not yet been confirmed, it was picked up on Tuesday, the 12th of March, that producer Alison Sterling CV had been updated to note that she worked on the show's 2024 Christmas special. Underneath this, it was noted that the director of the episode is Alex Pilelli, while it stated that the writer is one Stephen Moffat. The notes regarding the writer and director of the episode have been since removed. So here's the thing. I said when I saw that I didn't know how reliable the account was on X that was putting this up. Screenshots can be manipulated, as you know. We've seen that over the years. Um, but here's the thing: the the notes regarding her working on all the stuff has been removed. So again, we've had Disney release trailers before their time and all of this, and now we have people that are working on the show basically letting the cat out of the bag when they're not supposed to let the cat out of the bag. Um, so when approached by the radiotimes.com anyway, the BBC obviously refused the comment, and of course they're going to refuse the comment because Shooty Gatwa's first season hasn't even started yet, and we're talking about Christmas specials 2024. We already know that they've been filming the second season of Shooty's era, but this is the thing. I said it. Stephen Moffat is returning, and Stephen Moffat returning should be an eye opener for all fans. If RTD right can't get this show off life support after bringing back David Tennant and Catherine Tate and having a cameo for the recently passed um, Bernard Cribbins, then what have you got? They were expecting, and I said this, they were expecting those specials to do a lot better than what they did. But they didn't, right? But they didn't. So if David Tennant isn't a draw anymore, and Catherine Tate isn't a draw anymore, and RTD isn't a draw anymore, in their desperation, who are they going to turn to? Of course, they're going to turn to Stephen Moffat because he wrote some of the best episodes in Doctor Who's modern era. I mean, Heaven Sent is considered by a lot of fans to be up there as one of the greatest episodes that we've ever had, stories we've ever had. Obviously, it's followed up by the next part. I know some people like Hellbent, but I think it's an absolute travesty and an abomination, but we won't get into that. But Heaven Sent is absolutely beautiful, right? And he's written some other cracking episodes throughout his time. The God Complex is another one, which was a very, very good one. Not scary, but it did give me the Jeepers Creepers, as they say. Um, but look, as I said, and I've been blue in the face saying this, he is returning to Doctor Who. Be under no illusion that he is coming back. It's desperate times now. And this is why I do go down hard on the traitors in this fandom. You know, instead of speaking up and telling the truth, and some of you are now about Chris Chibnall, as some of you are actually saying all the stuff that I was saying about Chris Chibnall, but now you feel that like it's safe for you now to come out and talk about how bad the Chris Chibnall era was, right? But criticised me at the time because, unlike you cowards, I was willing to stick my neck out there and tell people exactly how bad this show was, along with others out there that also stuck their necks out. You guys sold out for the merchandise and for all the little gifts that you got off the BBC for for massaging their ego, right? That's what yous did. So yous facilitated and helped in the destruction of this show. It's why I have such disdain for yous all. Because now yous are coming out telling the truth about about Chris Chibnall, right? And I got abuse, my wife got abuse, even me dog was threatened, right? I was sent threats, right? Sent pictures of beheadings and all of this other stuff. Accused of stuff that I wasn't even guilty of in the fandom by some female fans who wanted to cancel me, right? That's what I had to tolerate the last 6 years. But yeah, on their side, they supported people like Tom Vance, Josh Snares, who threatened the British government, you know? And yeah, I'm the bad guy because me and a few others with a backbone refused to bow down to the agenda and came out and told fans exactly what was going on with their TV show and gave our opinions based on what we saw. But now all of these little sellouts are now singing from the same hymn sheet that I was singing off the last 5, 6 years. And it's okay for them to do it. But it's not okay for them to receive the abuse that I got. And I'm not saying anybody should be, but you see the hypocrisy in these people. They abused me for 5 or 6 years, and now they're exactly talking about everything that I mentioned on this channel along with me guests about how bad the show was, how bad Chris Chibnall was, how bad Jodie Whittaker was. Criticising the fact that he had no structure in his writing. All the stuff that we were saying here on this channel, they're all spewing the last couple of weeks now. It's actually amazing. Dan from the Spacebook even made a comment on it. Said, I wonder if Noel is going to get an apology now. Because Mr. Teabag is coming out with the exact same opinions that I had. But it's okay for him to have those opinions now because apparently it's safe to talk now. Because of people like him try to shut people like me up. It's hypocrisy. Did hit pieces on me, called me out, said that the information I was receiving was all lies when I never claimed that it was fact. I said it was rumor and speculation. But if you look at anybody in this Doctor Who fandom, right? And I'm telling you now, it's the truth. I don't care if this upsets people. But the bottom line and the truth of the matter is I had a more success rate than anybody in this Doctor Who fandom that has ever done this sort of stuff. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. Everything that I've told people, right? The majority of it has been realised and has come to fruition. Just like this Stephen Moffat thing is going to come to fruition. Right? All I did was pass on information to all you guys. I did streams on it. You guys then shared that information. And then when these people that are in this what you call it, I won't call it a business, but in this business of putting out this type of stuff, right? I was putting out, none of these people ever got a hit on any of the stuff that they put out. Then I came along and it was a different story, right? And people always questioned, well, why would they come to you? Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I still can't answer that. But at the end of the day, the information that I was receiving, the majority of it was absolutely spot on. I spoke about chaos in Cardiff, all of that stuff now, little bits and pieces over the last few couple of years now. Well, year, I would say, year and a half. There's stuff coming out about that. We've even had the media reporting saying that everything wasn't rosy behind the scenes. Everything that we spoke about, I told you, but I was called a liar. Oh, Noel is just trying to derail the show. He's telling lies because he's a bigot. He's sexist because he doesn't like a female doctor. All of this rubbish. And this is why I don't do this anymore. This whole information gig, right? Because it's not worth the energy I'm having to defend myself all the time. And it turns out I do be right anyway. The majority of the time. Not saying I get everything right. Nobody does. Not 100% hit right. But I can tell you now, there's a big YouTuber out there, right? Some of you know this big YouTuber, right? And all I say is he wears a mask, and the majority of the stuff that he puts out is lies or stuff that he's found or got someone else to find on forums, then repackages it as their own. Yet that guy is praised, even though it's clear that he's lying. And then when people actually bring up the point, he's like, "Oh, but he's doing no harm. He's doing no harm. Leave him alone. He's earning a living." And there was me putting out proper stuff. He even commented on Doctor Who, right? Said that the reason why Doctor Who wasn't shown in China was because it was got to do with Taiwan, right? What Taiwan had to do with fucking China showing Doctor Who is so stupid anyway, right? And the fact that people watch that video and actually in the comment section you see all the drones. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I could see that. It nothing to do with that, right? If anybody knows anything about China and you know about their film and TV industry, there's a very simple, there's a very simple explanation, and the explanation is when it comes to sci-fi and time travel and stuff like that, the Chinese government are very, very strict on it, right? If they don't, for example, the Rosa Parks episode wouldn't have flew in China because I had so many inconsistencies. I wasn't true to the facts, right? So China's film board and the industry over there are not going to show because they have strict rules. That's why Doctor Who wasn't shown. He tried to blame Tolton Cole as well, all because the black guy. Because as we do know, you know, Asian people do have racism towards black people. We've seen it over the years, right? But that's what he tried to use to justify his bullshit that he was putting out there in relation to the show. And then when I actually corrected them and actually called him out, he blocked me. And why am I bringing all this up? Well, I've been thinking the last couple of weeks, you know, and I've been thinking about all the stuff that I've said and done over the years in this fandom, right? And I'm gonna tell you now, I've never gotten the respect that I fucking deserve in this fandom. Never, right? And it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I deserve much fucking better, right? I deserve to be treated with fucking respect. But I was dragged through the mud. My wife was dragged through the mud because of my opinions on a TV show and because I happened to be putting out the correct information. And the bottom line is this: the other side in the fandom. All it was with them was jealousy, right? They were jealous of me because I was putting out the correct information, and they were all claiming that they had the information and they were putting out the right information. Well, no, not all Asians. Well, you're right about that, Chris. Right, but I should have said some Asians have a history of racism towards black people. I should have probably said it that way, but I get your point. You're absolutely spot on. Chris says afternoon. And it's nice to see you in the chat, Chris, by the way. Can't wait to have you back on anyway, do our little streams. But as I said, get yourself well, and then we'll have you back on and stuff. Can't wait start talking about stuff with you again. But get well soon, man. Get well soon. We're all thinking of you here. Rosa was an interesting episode, says YW2324. Um, yeah, it was because it was a skewed look at that time period. They literally had a white man in it just to be racist, and every white character, bar Graham, was racist. But if you go back to that time and place, right, there were white people fighting alongside black people in the civil rights movement. But because the writer, and this was at the height of the BLM, they just wanted to show a skewed version of history. That episode is an abomination, actually. It's one of the worst episodes in the show. If we didn't have Orphan 55, Rosa Parks' episode would be the worst episode in Doctor Who's long history. And we've had some stinkers. Don't get me wrong. We've had some stinkers, but that's a stinker and a half. So was Orphan 55. Orphan 55 was a train wreck. You're fine, all. I just wanted to razz you. You are on the right track. It's not the people, it's their government influence. Exactly. That's exactly why I said yeah. It's the government. They control everything over there, and that's what I said in relation to Doctor Who. Um, they're very strict when it comes to time travel and sci-fi, and if it's not in line with what Chinese government believe, um, then it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. So you see what they do with posters and all in China, right? We see what Disney allow when Disney bang on about inclusion and diversity, and then they allow the Chinese film board to whitewash posters and all, or black characters that are very prominent in American and European versions of the poster. They'll be shrunk down, and you'll hardly see them in the fucking poster. We've seen all this shit before. But yeah, I pointed that out, and somehow I was racist. I've not seen Orphan 55. Probably a good thing. Well, I'll do. I don't want to do this on you, but if anybody here in the chat has watched Orphan 55, could you tell YW2324 what you actually thought about it? Because if I do, we're going to be here all day, and I've got another live stream later on with the usual guys tonight. Well, I think so. Anyway, I'll have to check my Facebook and see if they're available. Um, but yeah, madness. Um, the Chris Chibnall era is a disaster, and we're in the situation that we're in because of it. So there you go. So yeah, I'll wrap up, but I want to kind of ask you guys before I leave, um, what your opinion is, and if you throw them up there, I'll throw them up quickly on screen there for everybody to see before we leave. But what do you guys think of this Stephen Moffat return if it is to happen? I'd say it's pretty much nailed on now, to be quite honest. But let's go with the media and say it's reports at the moment. How would you feel for Stephen Moffat's return? Because I've been on podcasts lately where the panelists have said that one particular panelist has said the sick and tired of um, fans actually running the show and having one person in charge of the show, like a show run, like what RTD is doing and what Moffat did and all. You have to delegate, basically. So there you go. So we've got the first comment there. So we got Chris from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and this is his response to you. Says, take everything good that you know about Doctor Who and then throw it in the wood chipper. That was Orphan 55. I couldn't have said it better myself. And then Daniel adds, Benny, that's all you hear in this episode is Benny. Fucking hell. I nearly forgot about Benny. But I knew that was a big thing in the fandom at the time, which kind of baffles me. There you go. But yeah, Orphan 55 wasn't great. Let's just say. And I'm pretty sure at some stage, because on the other podcasts we're doing episode reviews and all of this other stuff, we're having discussions. I'm pretty sure at one stage we'll get to Orphan 55. That'll be interesting. I mean, We were talking about what were we talking about yesterday? It's even gone out of me, man. Oh yeah, the Star Beast, and that panel got a bit lively. Um, you know, it's crazy. Psychologically, Doctor Who fans are we're all we've gotten to the point where it's just, you know, we're just waiting for the show to be cancelled now, and it's horrible because there's nothing you can do about it. We've got to sit back now and watch now and see what unfolds now the next 2 years at least, and that's the difference because every day, as you know, I was very optimistic at the very beginning, but now I'm at the stage where, as I said, I just don't give a crap, and it's actually sad. But I'm just counting down the days now until the show comes back onto the TV to be disappointed again. And that's the thing. I'm already thinking that I'm going to be disappointed, and that's not a good thing. And I think a lot of Doctor Who fans are there psychologically. I think we're all there. There's a lot of us there, and it's just hard to get excited now. And then when you see that they haven't even done much promotion, I mean, that's not helping either. So I'm not optimistic anymore. I'm going into it. I'm just going into it like saying with the attitude that, well, if it's good, brilliant. But if it's bad, I'm not surprised. You know, there's no that. I'm pretty sure I say this now, and people will probably come back to this and say, "But this is what you said at the time," and absolutely spot on. But I'll just say it anyway. But there's no point of me getting outraged anymore over it. But in saying that, as I said, someone will come back to that comment. But in saying that, I'm pretty sure that RTD is going to do something that will push me over the edge, and a lot of fans will snap, and I'll be one of them. And I don't want to really be going into a Doctor Who series waiting for something bad. I should be going into it hoping and praying that it's great. But I think, any goodwill that was there for RTD and optimism was gone the day he opened his mouth and started talking these politics anyway. So, in fairness, all I'll say in relation to R55 or the Whitaker era, it's not for me or Chris, as you said there in the chat, to convince anybody or influence you in any way. The bottom line is, I'll say this to any Doctor Who fan: look, if you want, if you want pure Doctor Who, then Classic Who is for you. If you want Doctor Who that has been designed for the modern audience, then this current the Chris Chibnall iteration especially is for you, right? The bottom line is, I you know I was calling for boycotts and all of that. It doesn't work, right? The bottom line is that the fans can see anyway how bad it is. The public can see how bad it is. They're walking away by their droves now, right? So we don't need to influence anybody or convince anybody to watch or not watch. The bottom line is people are deciding that for themselves. I would say that if you're going to delve into the whole new Who, you got to start from 2005 when Christopher Eccleston became the Doctor. If you just want to watch new Who, Classic Who is a completely different animal, right? The format is different. the story, 20-minute, 25-minute stories. Some people do find it a slog to get through some of the episodes, because remember, back in the day, Doctor Who was kind of a stopgap. Really, they wanted to put a TV program there for kids. Before then, they went on to the more adult stuff like politics and all of that other stuff. So, but obviously, the BBC never realised then that Doctor Who would become the phenomenon and the success that it was. And then, of course, then it continued on. But the format worked for a long, long time. So, Classic Who is completely different. And it's a different animal, and a different. There is a distinction, and there always is. That's why we say Classic Who and New Who. And this is why they say New Who now. Right before they didn't. They say New Who because it is new. It's totally different. It's not the Doctor Who that I grew up with, but I accepted it because the bottom line is I don't mind if something is different, but if they respect the source material to a certain extent, don't shit all over it and shit all over fans, then I have no problem with that. Nobody does. New Who did that, right? We didn't like everything that the showrunners done, but we liked a lot of it. We don't mind some new stuff. We don't mind if showrunners add to canon either, but once it respects what came before. We can't say that about Chris Chibnall. And it looks like that RTD's the same because he's doubling down on the flux and this time this children nonsense. So he's not even going to get rid of it. So remember, Shooty's Doctor. If RTD is being consistent, remember Shooty is in a universe now that's absolutely completely destroyed. Gallifrey, whether it's destroyed or not, we'll find out. But the whole universe is destroyed now. Because remember, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was so incompetent that the flux destroyed the whole universe. I wonder if Time Lash is worse than Orphan. Oh, that's fair play. Noel, I'm just here to support you and Brendan's channels, but I refuse to watch the show now. Davros was my breaking point. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is people will reach different breaking points. There are still people hanging on to the hope that the show does well. And they'll eventually reach their breaking point if RTD fails to deliver. But I think a lot of them are getting there anyway. Remember, the 60th anniversary was supposed to be a celebration of 60 years of Doctor Who, and it wasn't that, right? It wasn't that. It was, as someone has rightly called it, it was season 4B, right, of the RTD era. That's all it was. It didn't celebrate 60 years of Doctor Who in any shape or fashion. And as someone said on the podcast that was on the other day, they don't actually believe that RTD knows what he's doing. And I have to agree with what I've seen so far. It shows that he doesn't. He's cherry picking from different stuff, and he's trying to make it work. And when you get someone to do that, you delve into comics, then the rumor is Big Finish as well is going to be delved into and all this and stories. I kind of liked Wild Blue Yonder. I did myself. I did a review on it. It wasn't too bad. I think I said as well, even the giggle was good up until obviously we got to the Neil Patrick Harris dance thing. But I know that's Neil Patrick Harris, but I just found that whole scene cringy in Doctor Who, and there was a couple of lines of dialogue as well that were absolutely horrendous in that. But look, this is the thing. Did RTD do worse than Chris Chibnall? No, but that's not good enough because the standard of the show has completely hit rock bottom since Chibs was showrunner, right? But the thing about it is that for Stephen Moffat to succeed, he had to blow us all away with his writing, and he failed to do that. He failed to do that on any level. Actually, people will say, and we were reviewing the Star Beast yesterday again, and I also rewatched it yesterday for the first time. And the one thing that came across was there was no plot, really. There was no story. It was boring in places, and we had shooty, shooty, bang, bang. And the sonic screwdriver now can do things that it is absolutely ridiculous. Then you had Root Madley's character, in a wheelchair after RTD having a problem with people in wheelchairs because apparently people perceive people in wheelchairs as evil, but then proceeds to put little shooty darts in a wheelchair and then rockets fire out of our darts because, don't use Root Madley's talent, RTD. No, just make it about the fucking wheelchair, right? Just make it about the wheelchair. Bloody idiot. Like, you get a great actress like her on your show, and then you do a little gimmick with her wheelchair. You're an absolute disgrace. And I'm going to say what I said at the time, right? The bottom line is that when you were growing up, you seen people in wheelchairs as evil, and it's projection. Because nobody in the Doctor Who fandom ever saw Davros in a wheelchair or thought or thought people in wheelchairs were evil. That was projection on on you. That's your projection, right? And you're projecting it onto the fandom, and it's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. How fucking dare you, anyway? Right? Nobody thinks like that. Only you do because you're a little weirdo, right? You went to America and you drank the woke aid. You came back to the UK and now you're insufferable. And you were already insufferable back in the day. You were already very opinionated back in the day. But you're even worse now. You're even worse now, right? It's your projection. Just like it was with Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker. Projection, projection, projection. Don't be projecting your bigotry, your racism, your fucking hatred towards or your perceived fucking evil people in wheelchairs are evil. Right? That was on you. Right? That was on you. And Davros isn't in a wheelchair. He's in a life support unit anyway. It's a life support unit. Right? His will to survive was so great that he created a self-sustaining device to keep him alive. And yeah, we get, oh, people in wheelchairs are evil. So that's the bottom line, right? It's the truth as well. Let's have some hard facts here. RTD is projecting his own insecurities and his own bigotry on the fandom, just like the showrunner previous to him. And I'm sick and tired of us getting the brunt of it because we call it out. The bottom line is that RTD, you're a despicable human being, right? And it's not our fault that you were despicable. And if this is your way of trying to make up for you being a despicable human being, well, don't use Doctor Who to do it, right? Don't use Doctor Who to do it. Do something else, right? And leave Doctor Who as Doctor Who. How dare you? How dare you say that people see people in wheelchairs as evil and all of this other nonsense that you come out with? You're an absolute disgrace. You are. Absolute disgrace. Yeah, I know. He is a disgrace. It has to be called. And nobody will call him out, though. You know? Again, why does it take a small channel like mine to call him out? Right? Why isn't the media saying, hang on a minute here, RTD? What are you talking about? Nobody ever seen Davros being in a wheelchair as people seeing other people in wheelchairs as evil. What are you talking about? What kind of fucking statement is that to make? What kind of assumption is that to make? Is that not projection? That's what the media should be asking him. I shouldn't have to say all of this. The media should be doing their job and question the man. But no, that's not how it works. So be under no illusion. This is RTD trying to make up for his own insecurities and his own projections, and it's going to translate into Doctor Who. And this is why maybe he has this big hard on for the gender cult community, um, because if you look, he's hiring a lot of trans people and all. I wouldn't be surprised that back in the early days, if he was, as I said, this is all projection, right? And this is his way of making it up, and he's going to use Doctor Who to do it. Well, how fucking dare you, is what I say. Don't be using Doctor Who to force something down our throats because you were not a nice person. And it's clear that you're not a nice person because you've been outspoken, and others have come out and spoke about you, right? So we know that you're not a nice person, right? So I would say, and I'll say it with my chest out, everything that you're saying is projection and you're taking out on us, and you need to stop. And don't use Doctor Who for your own personal redemption, right? And that's what it is. You're looking for redemption for you being a shitty person grown up. That's not ours. That's not Doctor Who's responsibility. And it's not for us fans to suffer through because you were a bad person grown up. He needs strong editorial control of him. I think Bad Wolf team are too in awe of him. Um, we spoke about this on your podcast. I mean, John made a good point about no singular person, and so did the timescales say it as well. No person should have singular power of the show, and this is why it's time to move away from fans running the show as well. I've said this. I've been banging on about this since the Whitaker era. Anybody that's been following me will tell you. I've been saying this. We need fresh blood. We need people that have never had any connection with Doctor Who, but know their sci-fi to come in, and then to study Doctor Who, obviously, so they can do right by the show. But we do need a fresh eye on this. We don't need your Stephen Moffats and your RTDs and your Chris Chibnalls anymore. We don't need those sort of people running Doctor Who. And especially activists, right? Two of them in particular are activists. I don't know where Stephen Moffat is on most things because, well, I think Stephen Moffat is a bit of a centrist because we've seen it over the years. His opinions are not as strong as probably RTDs and Chris Chibnall in relation to certain issues. Uh, most of the stuff that was in the Moffat era, I don't think people realised, and I didn't at the time, but a lot of it was forced in by the BBC. You know, it wasn't his fault. He wanted to just write Doctor Who. They wanted agenda, and the rot starts setting in during the RTD era anyway. And then he tried to push back on it, and then it took its toll on him. Look, there's no doubt that Moffat and Doctor Who definitely did take its toll on him. I mean, he was writing obviously Sherlock as well, but Doctor Who did take a lot out of him, and you know, as I said, kind of being gone a little bit easier on Moffat over the years because I've realised a lot of stuff and read a lot of stuff, and he's not responsible for the woke stuff that was inserted into his era, and it's a fact. You even see his interviews, and this is why we should have really copped on. we've seen these interviews. We saw that particular interview with Mark Gatiss where he's sitting there and they're being interviewed. They say Doctor Who is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're left wing, right wing, centralist, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Right? So that's what Stephen Moffat's opinion is. But if you were to ask RT, have a completely different view. Now, Doctor Who is for such and blah, blah, blah. They claim it's for everybody, but it's not. Even look at the people that he's hired. He's got his own little club going now, right? It's the LGBT Rainbow Doctor Who behind the scenes. That's what it is. All the artists, writers, directors, actors that he's bringing in, right? They're coming from the trans community or the LGBTQ plus community. And it'll be very interesting actually when you analyse the new RTD era. How many actual characters in Doctor Who are going to be straight? Because I wouldn't say there's going to be many, right, in this new iteration. But we'll see. Like I did with Chris Chibnall, I'll give RTD a chance. And I'll give RTD more of a chance because obviously he came back in 2005. So he does deserve a chance. And we're four episodes in now of what he's given us, like the three so-called 60th anniversary specials and the Church on Ruby Road. And right now I have to say I'm not impressed. But I have seen some positivity. And the positivity would be is that compared to the recent specials that Chris Chibnall did, these specials, the numbers are up, but not by much. But that's nothing to be screaming and shouting about. And in saying that, there were, Wild Blue Yonder. I mean, it wasn't the worst episode, but by the end of it, I was kind of like, I'm kind of bored. This is what I felt with the what I've watched with RTD so far. I've been bored. And then I'll put that abomination on that was the Church of Ruby Road. And to be quite fucking honest with you, as soon as I saw the goblins, I was done. But I watched it all the way through, but it was horrible. Right? So nothing he's given us so far has lit a fire under me. And I say, yeah, Doctor Who is back. He still has a job to do. But I will give him a chance. See, the new season comes up, and I'll give him what I gave Chris Chibnall. You've got 3 episodes, but the thing about it is, though, his 3 episodes will be nearly halfway through his season because he's only dropping 8 episodes or something. So by the 3rd or 4th episode, we will all have made up our minds of how good or bad this show is. We shouldn't jump the gun on the 1st episode, right? Because remember, a lot of people were praising the woman who fell to earth. Right? Oh, yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't. Right? And that did very well. Got 13 million viewers. But then by the next week, then you actually saw the true reality of what was going to happen with this show. So I will give RTD 3 episodes like I gave Chris Chibnall every season. Then after the 3rd episode, my mind was made up then. And then, of course, then then reviewing the rest of it is just absolutely a fucking pain in the arse because I don't want to be watching. But I have responsibilities for people in here that have been supporting me and following me, and they still want to hear me talk about Doctor Who. So the specials by RTD. Light on plot, heavy on message, little suspense, dull, not inspiring, says the Sense Fair. Brendan's absolutely spot on. I mean, that's exactly how a lot of people felt. So he's got a job to do. Realise that it was going to be a big job. I'm pretty sure after the specials dropped and then the Church on Ruby Road, he realises now how bad this actually is. Because, remember, as I said, a few months back or a few weeks back, it was even only a few weeks back actually, Stephen Moffat dismissed or said he wouldn't come back to Doctor Who, and now all of a sudden he's coming back to Doctor Who, apparently. But as I said, I've been speaking about Stephen Moffat returning to Doctor Who um, before anybody was talking about Stephen Moffat returning back to Doctor Who. And as I said, as I've always said, you know, people slag me off in this fandom and call me a liar, even though I say it's rumor and speculation anyway. You know, they make it out that I'm saying this is all fact. But you know what? Sometimes I do think I should just say it is fact just to piss these people off because it ends up being fact. Stephen Moffat is going to return to Doctor Who because Doctor Who is not doing as well as I said, the sellouts in the fandom are telling everybody. Right? The specials did not get the traction that they wanted. Right? And I'm pretty sure if you look at the Disney Plus numbers, they're absolutely, absolutely horrible. We've also now recently learned that Doctor Who and other programs were being promoted by bots on X. Big expose done. So yes, as I said, this show is not doing great. Like the people out there who do all the talking, like the Mr. Teabags and all of this, telling you that the show is great. It's grand. It's never been healthier. Right? We've even seen them fudge the ratings. Again, problem being, aka Lee, was the one that done a bit of digging on that. And we saw that they were lying about the ratings and fudged the ratings. And remember, there was a delay again, a delay for the consolidated figures. That never happened under the Stephen Moffat era or the RTD era or even the Chris Chibnall era. We got the consolidated figures and they were never really, you know what I mean? And by Monday, we were all on it doing our videos. But not this time. Consolidated figures. As soon as they did the first episode, they put those out. But then by the second episode, they started messing with I wouldn't release the consolidated figures, so they were delayed. But then they added the extra days on to the consolidated figures to make it out that it was 7 days, when in reality it was 11 or 12 days past that they were adding on. The numbers have been fudged, but then Mr. Teabag and others were saying, no, I do a whole video showing you that they're lying about the numbers. Even begged his subscribers to give him money so he could get behind a paywall because BBC apparently put the ratings behind the paywall so he could try and debunk the fact that this show is not doing not doing well, and the show isn't doing well, and it's about time that you all woke up to the reality of the situation, you little sellouts. Right, the show isn't doing well, right, and he's not facilitated in the downfall of this show. We'll never forgive you anyway. Yous are as bad as Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker and every other little scumbag out there that actually harassed, bullied, and attacked Doctor Who fans who have supported and loved this show throughout their life. These will never be forgiven. Never. Anyway, I'll leave it there. So yeah, if Stephen Moffat returns, folks, it is a sign that this show is in terrible, terrible trouble. Because he recently said he wasn't coming back, just like RTD did all those years ago. But the show is in fact in a terrible position right now. And if Stephen Moffat is coming back, it indicates to me that it's worse than what we thought. And this is desperation mode. So I will get the guys, obviously, if we do the other live stream later on, I will get Queen Charlotte and PD Rich's opinion on this Stephen Moffat situation. And you can tune in to hear what those guys have to say. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, folks. Also, the Movie Zone is back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for members only. And we are doing Ghostbusters Afterlife. Real Super Doctor and Chris came to, it was a Real Super Doctor saying, I want us to watch a Ghostbusters Afterlife. Chris saying, yep, I'm down with that one. And then I was like, okay, just admit it, John. You just wanted to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife because the new movie is coming out this month. And he goes, "You got me." So Ghostbusters after. I'll throw the trailer up as I always do and all of that. Give you the details and stuff. But I should be back later on. So tune in. If not, enjoy the rest of your day, just in case the other guests don't turn up. But uh, maybe in 7 years' time it'll be good again. Jesus Christ. Do you know what? This is just, I know it's a joke and everybody laughing, but you know what? This is actually a simple fix. It wouldn't even take much to fix this. But they're all so stupid in the industry that they don't actually realize that. Anyway, yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thanks to Chris last night who gave away 5 memberships for you guys in the chat, and we also gave away 5 free memberships. Chris obviously paid for his YouTube, gave me 10 to give away. I gave 5 away in one other stream, and I gave 5 away last night. I want to welcome those new members and thank Chris once again for that. And come and join us for those membership streams. So one on Thursday night, and then our Friday stream with Brendan, who was in the chat there at Sensphere, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And of course, I will get the lads' opinion on Stephen Moffat, and if they have any stuff that they would like to talk about as well in relation to Doctor Who. That's what we'll be doing there on the TARDIS Zone Talks membership stream. I think it's episode 4 now. So yeah, and we have to be careful because the last one got limited. I dropped a couple of bombs on the coursey words on the membership stream, so I have to be careful. The YouTube's getting ridiculous, man. Anyway, yeah. So join us for that. But will you do us a favor, guys? Just one last thing. You know me, I never ask you for anything other than sharing me streams, liking me streams, and leaving a comment. It does actually help. And I need you to do it a little bit more than normal. Because I don't want to end the stream this way, but we are in a bit of a different financial difficulty here. And well, let's just say Cheryl, they got some news from the bank, and it's not looking good. So I need you to just share. You know me, I never ask for money or anything like that. All I ever ask you guys to do is share me streams. So if you could do that, I really appreciate it. If you are in any Doctor Who groups and they allow you to put up streams or posts like this, please do. And most importantly, don't forget to hit that notification button so you are notified for future streams. And also hit that like button, as I said, and leave a comment. It all helps with the algorithm. And I just need you guys to step that up just a little bit for me if you don't mind. It's the only thing I ask. I never ask you for anything here. You know that I'm not that type of person, and I never will ask you because that's not my style. But if you could do all of that for me, I really bloody do appreciate it. And you know I appreciate you have been here for me the last 5 or 6 years, most of you, and you have had me back, and I love you for it. So if you could do that for me, I'd really, really appreciate it. And I will see you for that. This is why I'm doing these streams now. I have no choice. I actually have no choice. I have to step it up. And already me time is because I'm doing all the other stuff that's happening here. And I mean, I'm going to be really full steam ahead now for the next couple of months until I can get back to a decent position again. You know how it is. Some of you live in America, some of you live in the UK, and some of you live in other parts of the country where the government is screwing us over. So you know what it's like. We're all financially fucking tight right now. Right? We're all fucking struggling. Right? So that's all I ask is to do. If you could do that for me. And as I said, I'll be back later on for you guys. And then obviously Thursday we will have the movie zone for members. I may throw up another little live stream as well Thursday afternoon. There's a couple of topics, as I said, I do want to cover. And then we'll have the lads on then on Friday night with me for the Tarda Zone Talks membership streams. And if you're a member, fantastic. And as I said, continue to be in these chats, because every month I do give away 10 free YouTube memberships. So be in the chat, because hopefully, you know, if you're active, I don't know how it works with YouTube, how they select people, because it's automatic. But I'm pretty sure if you try to be active in the chat, that may help. And hopefully, some people will get the memberships. But yeah, keep an eye out for that anyway, guys. Right. So I'll see you later. Thanks, Chris, as usual, being in here, and Daniel as well. A couple of our mods who always keep everybody in the chat safe. You know, but we don't really get any trolls anymore. Have you noticed that? Actually, you know, I shouldn't have responded to trolls over the years. I got to be honest with you. But I've said this before. You know, I made a few mistakes, you know, along the way on this journey. But my advice to anybody out there, and I'll leave with this just to wrap it up. But if you're running a YouTube channel, my advice is this, right? You're always going to get trolls when you start out, especially if you put out opinions that others don't like, right? But the worst thing and the worst mistake that I made was respond to every single one of these little muppets when they were threatening me life and stuff like that. Sometimes I had to, and people in the chat will agree that there were times where I was right to come out and defend myself. But I tried to defend myself against every little Tom, Dick, and Harry in this fandom, and it didn't do me mental health any good. So the bottom line is, you're always going to get an asshole or two in the chat, or an asshole or two that's going to comment on your YouTube videos, or say, or come after you on X. The bottom line is that, you know, no matter what they throw at you, remember, they're hurty words. That's all they are, just words, right? And just ignore them, block them, mute them, whatever you have to do for your own peace of mind, you do it. But don't ever go on the offensive and retaliate, because that's exactly what they want. And I wish I had learned that at the very beginning. People did try tell me, but the thing about it is, as a human, you've got to learn from your own mistakes, and you've got to find out yourself. And I certainly did find out the hard way. But my advice to anybody out there is, stop responding to trolls. Simple as that. Anyway, have a good day. I'll talk to you later on in the evening. For some years, when we do go live at 7, it's going to be the afternoon or evening, or the afternoon for you anyway. But I'll see you later on. Have a good one. And yeah, 7 o'clock. Tune in. See you soon.